If you're looking for some good old-fashioned truck style for your F-150, then the Westin HDX Grille Guard will be just right for you. The HDX provides the front end of your truck with a beefy, aggressive look, and it gives you some more capability as well. So if your truck works hard or sees a lot of action, this is a great option that will give you additional flexibility and make your truck more capable in the process without compromising its factory functionality. Quick note on fitment here before we dive in too deep. This is designed to fit 2015 to 2020 F-150s, excluding Raptor and Platinum models. Now, when somebody says the phrase grille guard, the HDX is essentially the exact thing that pops into my head. This is very much the quintessential grille guard. It covers pretty much the whole front end of your truck, including the headlights, for a truly massive amount of real estate that is definitely going to keep your truck protected. Now, of course, you've got the requisite crossbars and the surrounds for your grille and for your headlights, and that big section of honeycomb right there in the center to cover the grille, so everything has several layers of protection should you need it. However, it's not going to compromise on function either. The central uprights are also flat on the outer edges, so if you need to use this as a bit of a push bar, you've got the provisions to do that, and it's not going to damage the truck itself. You've also got a removable section of honeycomb right here in the center of the grille, so if your truck has radar cruise or the front-facing camera, you can take that out and everything will remain fully functional. Now, this one is finished in gloss black too, so it goes well with any paint color, and I think this really brings a sort of classic farm truck type of style to the F-150, which wears it quite well. Now, obviously styling is subjective, but there is no denying that this makes the front end look that much more serious and work focused. Plus, you've got some additional functionality and it's not going to compromise your truck in the process. Now, looking good is important, but it's more important to be able to back that up with solid build quality. Now, this is a modular 3-piece setup, so the headlight guards are going to bolt on separately, and the center section is all one piece. And everything here is really solid. If you need to remove or replace any part of it, it just makes the job a little bit easier because you can remove that center grille as well. Everything here is made from stainless steel too. You've got the main sections of tubing, which are all 2 inches in diameter, and thick steel plating for the uprights. Everything is also finished in this nice satin black powder coat too for additional good looks and some corrosion protection. So safe to say this is a very high quality setup and it should be durable for the long run even if you're working it really hard. As far as pricing goes, this one's going to run you about $975. And while that is not a small amount of money, it is one of the most affordable options out there for these trucks. Doesn't hurt that it's well built and good looking to boot, so it definitely can justify its asking price. Installation gets a 2 out of 3 on our difficulty meter, and the job should take you around 2 hours to complete. While this is a totally bolt-on installation that does not require any cutting or modification to the truck itself, you'll probably want another set of hands for this job. Though the modular nature makes this a bit easier to get on your truck and put it together, this center section is pretty big and has some heft to it, so it's definitely helpful to have another person there, if only for the sake of safety. And we're going to walk you through the entire installation process step by step right now, so for that, let's head on out to the shop.
For this install, you will need various impacts, a ratchet, size adapters if necessary, 5 and 8 millimeter Allen sockets, 13, 15, 18, and 21 millimeter sockets, 13 and 18 millimeter wrenches, a panel tool, a tape measure, and also not shown here is an extra set of hands and potentially a floor jack. All right, today we're going to be installing a new front bumper on our F-150, but before we get started, we're going to send you to watch a quick video on how to remove your factory bumper, and we'll see you when you get back.
All right, first things first, grab a plastic panel removal tool, go to your factory bumper, and you're going to remove these 2 plastic trim pieces right above your tow hooks. Don't use anything metal because it can scratch your paint, and you need to go right up against that to pry this guy off. You want to have a hand there to catch it though, to make sure it doesn't come right off. All right, once you pry in there, just peel off. You can see there's just plastic clips and metal clips holding this guy on. Do the same thing on the other side. Now, once you have that removed, you're exposing 2 21 millimeter nuts on these threaded studs here on both sides. We're not going to completely remove them. We're just going to loosen them up so that we can get them off by hand. Grab your 21 deep socket, grab an extension and an impact gun or a ratchet, and loosen them up. All right, so we got that back all the way off. I'm just going to keep it on a couple of threads. All right, same thing on the other side. All right, so at this point, you're crawling under the front end of the truck and you're going to unplug the factory master harness for the fog lights. Now, that's directly above the frame here, and it may be attached to the frame itself, but you can just pull that plastic clip off like I have here. What you're going to do is just flip it over. You're going to pinch and disconnect. That way the fog lights are free and won't tug on this harness attached to the vehicle. Next up, we have to remove the third 21 millimeter nut from underneath of the truck, connecting it to the frame. It's basically right where the first 2 were, but on the opposite side, on the inside of the truck. So we're crawling underneath the front end. I got my 21 socket. Now keep in mind, guys, as you remove these 2 last ones, one on each side, the bumper is going to start coming down. That's why we left the first 2 nuts loose, so that it can catch it and it's not going to come down on top of us. All right, so grab your 21 deep socket and extension and get these off. All right, so at this point, I'm going to repeat that process on the other side. What you're seeing now is the front side view of that same bolt on the driver's side. All right, at this point, you're basically going to support the front bumper and remove the 4 21mm nuts that we left on just a couple of threads. Keep in mind, as you remove these guys, it's going to start coming off. All right, all 4 are off. Let's pull this guy out of position. And with everything disconnected, set it aside. All right, so next up we have to remove our factory tow hooks. Grab a 15 socket and an impact gun or ratchet, go underneath and take those 2 bolts out. Pull that bolt plate out as well. Same thing on the other side. All right, so now we have to take off the factory double bolt plate just by pulling off these retainer pieces of plastic that hold them on. And you're basically gonna pull it out. They're all in one piece, just like that. I'm just gonna put the plastic things back on so we don't lose them. Do the same thing on the other side.
All right, welcome back. Now that we have our factory bumper off, we can begin installing our provided brackets. Now, you aren't gonna be able to reuse your tow hooks on this one if you do have factory tow hooks. So what we're gonna do is grab our passenger side bracket first. Now these are gonna be labeled, all of your brackets, with a P or a D for passenger or driver side. We're gonna reuse the factory double nut plate and grab our provided 18mm bolts with lock washers and flat washers, and we'll get these mounted in place. It is a little bit tricky to hold this and get your bolts started at first. Get your first one pretty hand tight. Grab our second bolt, line up our plate. Now once you got this side hand tight, you want to leave it that way, and we'll do the same thing for the other side. All right, so now we're going to install our bumper mounting brackets. So we're going to remove the outer bolts at the center of where your tow hook area is with our 13mm socket. And you can do the same thing for the other side. Now we're going to grab our mounting bracket, which is again labeled with a D or a P. We're on the driver's side. We're going to grab our 8mm spacer, get that on our lower mount, and get our bolt and flat washer and lock washer through. And we'll get that right in that bolt's place. What we're going to do is press this down pretty flush with the rubber trim on our bumper, and use our 13mm socket to tighten this down. Then you can do the same thing on the other side. All right, so now what you want to do, since we do have to tighten these before we put our bumper back on, because you can't access these bolts easily once you put them on, just want to double check the measurement between these two, outside to outside, is supposed to be 39 3/4 inches. So you want to just double check, and we're right at 39 3/4. Now that we have everything in place, we're going to reinstall our front bumper. Get this up into position. And we'll reinstall our 21mm nuts to get our bumper back on. Now we'll get our 21mm nuts back into place. We'll get the 2 up front first. Now once you get these 2 on hand tight, you can get the other 2 out front first. Then you also want to get the ones down on the bottom of the bumper, and then we'll come back and tighten everything down. Now that we've got all of our factory hardware back in place, we're going to tighten down our inner nut first. Again, it's hard to see, but it's basically right down here behind this. We get our 21mm socket, tighten this down. We'll also plug our fog light connector back in if you have it. Now again, your fog light connector is right back behind your frame horn. It's kind of hard to see unless you're right on it, but it's right there above it. You can plug that right back in. Again, factory connector. Now we'll tighten down our 2 front mounting nuts, again with our 21 mil socket and impact. And once we got those 2 tight, we can reinstall our cover. Now we'll pop this right back into place. And you can do the same thing for the other side. All right, so now that we have everything back in place, we're gonna install the center portion of our grill guard itself. Now I've got an extra set of hands that's gonna help me out with this. Also, we're gonna use a floor jack to set the height so we don't have to hold it in place and try to install our hardware. We'll just have to steady it. So I'll get our floor jack and get our extra set of hands. We've already got our supplied Allen head bolt, washer, and flange nut ready to go. So we'll get these in. We're gonna install our upper bracket bolts first, and then we'll get everything else in place. In. All right, so now that we've got our mid support bolts in, we've got our floor jack supporting our weight, we're gonna get our bottom mounting bolts in now. So we'll get our lower mounting bolts in. We'll get our supplied flange nuts in place. Once we've got these in hand tight, we'll do the same thing for the other side. All right, so now we've got all of our hardware in place. We're gonna grab our 8mm Allen socket and an 18mm wrench and tighten down all of our mounting hardware, and then we're gonna go down and tighten down our 2 18mm bolts for each of our main mounting brackets. Now that we've got these tight, we'll do the same thing on the other side, then come underneath and tighten down those bolts. Now we're going to tighten down our lower mounting bolts at our tow hook mounts with our 18mm shallow socket on our ratchet. Once you have this side tight, you can do the same thing for the other side. All right, so now before we install our headlight guards, what we're going to need to do is remove this mounting bolt that we already put in. We'll do one side at a time. You want to keep the other one in until you put it on. So again, we've got our 8mm Allen socket, an 18mm wrench. Pop this one out. All right, so now we're gonna install our headlight guards. So we're gonna line these up with our mounting holes on our center section and get our provided Allen head bolts with flat washers and flange nuts in place. I'm gonna get a couple in just to hold it on, and we'll show you how to get your hardware in place. Once you have that first one in, it'll hold it, and we can get the rest of ours in place. So we'll get our bolts lined up. You have to move this around a little bit. Get your back ones in. Now that we've got our top 5 bolts in, we'll reinstall our lower mounting bolt. You have to move this around a little. And we'll get our mounting nut back in place. And once we have all these in, we're going to tighten all these down, and then you can do the same thing for the other side. So once again, we'll grab our 8mm Allen socket, our 18mm wrench for our main mounting bolt. Now to tighten these down, we're going to grab our 5mm Allen socket and our 13mm wrench. And you can tighten down your 2 back bolts as well. And once you got this side tightened down, you can repeat the same process for the other side, and you're good to go. Alrighty, that about wraps up our review and install of our HDX Modular Grille Guard in black finish for your 15 to 20 F-150, excluding the Raptor and Platinum. Thanks for watching, and as always, for everything F-150, keep it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.